All right. So what's been going on with the SEO world? I just want to say 2023 was really a difficult year for a lot of the SEO changes. And a lot of it is centered around the new AI tools that are available. So let's go ahead and talk about, let me get my next page. All right, so we're going to do this at 20,000 foot level. We're not going to get down into the real nitty gritty because there is so much and it's so technical. So let's do a quick SEO review of what we all should know at this point. SEO stands for search engine optimization, and a lot of it is about quantity and quality of traffic. And what we talk about organic search engine results. And organic simply means instead of me searching for Azar realtor, I'm searching for a realtor near me. That's organic, realtor near me. So when you look at your when you look at all of the trends or your Google Search Console to see what pages they're looking for, where your viewers are coming from, you want to see Google or a search engine having the most, because that's people that don't know you that are finding you online. So that's important. So let's go ahead and talk about how that traffic actually happens. So first of all, you create a quality targeted content called a website, and then Google surfaces it somewhere in a search result. People discover it and engage with it, and then Google ranks it higher. And then we go to more people discovering it and engaging with it, and the content gets more traffic, back to Google ranks it higher. And eventually your domain authority increases and you get higher ranking. So that's a real basic overview provided by WordStream, you can see. And I think that really speaks well to exactly how we, the consumer, really that has a business that tries to work with SEO, really kind of looks at what SEO is. So having said that, we're going to talk about the first change today, which I've heard from a lot of people, and I've seen questions about it also on the groups on Facebook, and that's the business page. So Google had made a decision probably in the spring of last year, that only the owners of a business can have a business profile. What happened, and they actually did target real estate and financial businesses. It's right in their documents. It says that. They have expanded that to childcare centers and a few other small businesses because they look at you as the agent as kind of an employee, not the owner of that location. So, but the DRE, or your Department of Real Estate licensing throughout all your states, most of your states do not allow you to use personal business addresses. And some of you, I already know, are your own brokerages, so you do own that business. And some of you have your own offices, even though you're with a different brokerage. And that's all good. But getting Google to understand that, yes, I am truly the owner of this business has been very difficult, because they look at real estate as, you know, you can't have 350 agents with one market center claiming that they own a business. So they've been very skeptical of real estate and lending partners about how they get Google business pages. And it was basically suspended for almost 8 months. Everybody that, if you made any kind of change or tried to create a new one, you were asked to do a video verification. I don't know anyone that got a video verification through the process. Some of them are still struggling with that. And then all of a sudden in February, I was launching new websites for clients that purchase branding packages. So I was building their Google business pages, and I was going, oh, this is never going to work. And all of a sudden, They let them be verified online with a text code, again, like they did 2 years ago. So they didn't require a video verification, and it was done instantly. It didn't take days. It was instantly done online through a text code. So then I went back to clients that were still struggling with their Google Business Profile verifications through the video process, and we still could not get them verified. So with a couple of my clients, what we did, because they didn't really have any reviews or any thing of value to hang on to versus having a verified business profile. So we simply removed the old profile and created a new one, got them verified instantly. Again, this is like changes that suddenly happen and we get no notification as to the rhyme or reason. Even in the web developer world, I'm tied in pretty tightly to a lot of that, and I get a lot of the updates, but that really took everyone by surprise. And we had no idea that it was just targeting those industries. So also adding, I've already talked about that. If you have any questions about that, put it in the chat. I'll address those at the end. Adding Q&As in your Google Business page. When you go in to edit your Google Business page, it's really important to ask questions and then go back and answer that question so that you get 2 or 3, 4, 5 Q&As on there, because that's really good content for Google to look at. And that way they're going to end up using that in the new ranking algorithm because you're engaging with your business profile. So depending on the market in your area, if there's a new common question that may arise, post it in your Google Business Profile. Updates or posts only remain visible for more than for 7 days traditionally. They're now allowing them to continue on the business profile at the bottom there to show the latest. So if your latest business profile update or post, and it's just like a post on Facebook, it's just called an update instead of a post. If you haven't added one since 2021, for example, it's going to sit there and look like you haven't added anything since 2021. I recommend posting twice a week in Google Business Profile, your Google Business Profile. So anything that you're going to post on Facebook or, a blog that you write on your website, post it in the Google Business page. If you get a new listing, put it in your Google Business page. You can do 2 or 3 posts on just one new listing. Or if you're going to do an open house, put it on your Google Business page. You got to start thinking that Google, your website, Google, those are the top places that you want to interact with. And so it's really important to keep that up to date. So let's look at screen versus SEO. So the verification of a real estate consists of their license, their driver's license, verifying their broker through your Department of Real Estate. There's all kinds of documents that you have to provide in digital format to Google, and then it's a minimum of $80 a week, depending on how many agents in your area are paying for the screening. So that's what shows up when you do a Google search like Sacramento Realtor. Again, that's an organic search. So this is what shows up at the very top. This is the sponsored. When you build SEO, it's usually under the map, under businesses. And they only show the top 3 or 4 until you hit view businesses. But once you hit more businesses, it's going to show 20. And I will say probably at least 90% of Google searches go directly to the map. So that is truly where you want to be. getting on the top 20 in Google on a laptop, that means you're on page 1. Now, part of this new Google algorithm is they're going to do away with that. And just like when you search on Safari on your phone or whatever search engine you use on your phone, it's just a wall of pages. So you're just going through it. Chrome is going to be the same. So instead of saying more agents or give you pages that you can go to find more agents, it's going to become a long wall of words. So if you have any questions on that, that's great. You can see powered SEO is generally powered by your business page, what your YouTube is, because Google owns YouTube, the content on your website, what is your digital footprint, and have you optimized for SEO. And that's only one search engine, that's Chrome. So let's start with the second one now, Google Search Console. The 3 stages of the Google Search Console. This is undergoing a huge change right now, and the bugs are not worked out. And Google does not know when this is going to be fixed, because right now the updates that they're doing to the whole search algorithm is actually taking precedence over this. So crawling, I just wanted to talk about the terms. So when we launch a website and we pull in the Google Search Console and connect them, we invite Google to crawl the website. So they're going to send in their little spideys and go through your website, and they look for a multitude of things. And they're going to come back and tell Google how to index it, who you are, what you do, where you do it, how much content you have, what you claim as your keywords, as much information as they can get so that they know whether or not when an organic search happens that they can put you on that page in the search engine results, the SERP. That's called a search engine result page. So if you hear that term, and at the end of this presentation on the PDF, I've got a whole dictionary of these terms. So if you can't remember what these stand for, you're going to get that at the end of this session. So it serves the search engine results. Once Google understands who you are and how they've indexed you because of the crawling. So like I said, it's struggling right now. It's had a lot of issues. And the Google Search Console has, Google has replaced RankFlux, which was the crawler app that they use, with an AI customer experience tool. Some of it says it's called the AI customer service tool, so I'm not real sure what they're calling it, but basically the app is RankBrain. Indexing has now changed. Even if I were to launch a website today and pull in the Google Search Console, it would only index the homepage. Because what is critical now is that you have to add a sitemap to the Google Search Console. And that's new. So if that hasn't been done for you, you can contact me and we'll see what we can do to get that done for you. Because what happens is the sitemap once is crawled first, and the sitemap goes in and tells Google how many valid pages there are for indexing. And by valid pages, I mean pages that actually have content. So for example, those websites that have IDX installed. So a lot of times it's just a banner with the IDX for the search results, maybe for a specific town will show up, and then, but there's no real content, and that's all pulling from the MLS real time. So there's no hard data on that page. It's a link that's pulling data from your MLS. So that's not going to be a valid page. So you may have 83 pages, but only have 30 indexable pages. So let's just talk about the workaround. So the only way I've been able to get some of these, because the sitemap crawling, it was new after they implemented the homepage only rule. So there's that gap that happened of about 2 weeks in the Google Search Console, that recovering from that has been a major challenge, but we're doing it. We're trying to get there. So the workaround is by going to every page on your website, copying the URL, and submitting it to Google for crawling, requesting it to be indexed. Some of them will get indexed, some of them will not. Right now, the biggest bug is that it's not indexing the blog pages at all. It's seeing server errors, or they're coming back with all these different variety of errors. So it's not even a consistent error message that we're getting in the Google search results and the indexing results. It's just all over the place. And indexing, Google is telling me to give it 30 to 60 days, which is not acceptable, and it's astronomical. I mean, indexing used to take 15 minutes for a website of about 60 pages. 15 minutes compared to now they're saying 30 to 60 days. And a lot of that is because of when they changed it. Now they're so flooded with indexing requests that they're way behind. And that's just the truth of it. So now let's go on to the Google algorithm. And again, if you have any questions about the Google business profile, if you don't have anything in there, you may want to start over and get it verified instantly. And then about the Google Search Console, some of this we're going to have to just write out. And under the Google algorithm updates, we're kind of looking at a similar situation. A lot of it is going to be rolled out. So you can see it was actually March 5th that they launched this new algorithm. And a lot of it has to do with taking away rank flux and putting in the AI tool called Rank Brain, or the AI customer service tool, or whatever they call it. And they said the rollout will take up to a month to fully roll out. They're finding a lot of issues that is probably going to take longer. So I'm not holding my breath for that 30 days. But it's happening. But I want to show you that this, since June of last year, or April of last year, starting in your bottom right, you can see all the changes that were made in April, then up to May, then to June, and then you go down to July. So on the left, you see we get to March of 2024. And all of those that are circled were all the biggest changes that I had to deal with, and as a web developer and as an SEO builder. The rest of these really didn't play that huge of a significance. A lot of them were just rolling out in different countries, but that's a lot of changes. I mean, that's like record changes. And a lot of these are so dramatic that it's changing the way everybody does everything. It's like turning the world on top of its head. So we're going to talk a little bit about what is causing Google to go through these iterations that make such drastic turns. And so hopefully any question that you may have about any of this at this very moment, we're going to address. But if not, put it in the chat. So the new foundation of good SEO, they tell me, is, again, we're going to stick with quality and consistency of our digital footprint. We're going to talk about the digital footprint more. The usage of keywords on site pages. Those are becoming refined. They no longer look at long tail keywords. They're looking at medium tail. So let's say if you are looking for keto information, I'm going to go on the keto diet. And if you put in keto, that's a short tail keyword. It's one word. If you say keto diet, that's called a medium tail search. So those are the ones that they're looking at. So, and a lot of you that are my clients, and you know, the SEO that we have worked with are the keywords that we do try to keep them very short. And it could be Walnut Creek Realtor, or it could be Seattle Realtor, or New York Realtor. Those are extremely good keywords, because if you look at what people actually search on, building SEO on keywords that are never searched doesn't do you any good. You can show up on page 1 for nobody. So it's getting shown on getting onto page 1 for the masses, not for the very minute. So alternative text or rich snippets. Let's go back to, I'm sorry, I missed that. Rich snippets added to meta description. So they're calling them rich snippets now, which are really truly where on your website is a meta description. And we've never stopped doing that, even though if there were times when it didn't help a lot with SEO. The last 2 years, it has helped a lot with SEO, but, and we did add rich snippets into the meta description. The meta description itself has changed dramatically as well. But I don't recommend changing it to just single words. It doesn't, the only real change to meta descriptions is they say it doesn't have to be in a sentence format. Whatever. Rich snippets have to do with every page. Like if this is your review page, you want to say something about the content on the page, such as feedback and reviews from my past clients mean everything to me, as along with your referrals or whatever, and then have your meta description in it. That's called a rich snippet, and we already do that. They can be beefed up a little bit, and I can show you how to do that, or we can go in and do that. But basically, they're already there. So also, the Google search has implemented ADA compliance. They have created Google guidelines that are above and beyond the ADA Title I and Title III requirements of the law. But those were passed back in 1992. Nobody had internet or even a home computer yet at that time, really. And nobody had, excuse me, websites, So things have evolved since 1992, and there's been no congressional changes or legislative changes to the ADA requirements for Title I and Title III, but Google has implemented those to the online community, regardless of what the law says. So now to get ranking, we have to have alternative text, and as well as alternative text, I should have put on here, it's contrast. So when we talk about ADA requirements online to online properties, such as a website or YouTube or Facebook or anything that you do online, they really look for ADA compliance. A lot of it is contrast between the lettering and the background. So if you're using a very faint light gray on white, that's not going to work for the visually impaired. And a lot of the visually impaired that use the website crawlers to tell it what's in images, they have to have alternative text in that, on the back end of that image, so it can tell that application to tell the viewer that this is Rachel's headshot. So they know what's in that picture. So that's what an alternative text, and that's now taking us a lot longer on website development as well. And then, of course, we submit the sitemap to Google and to the Bing Webmaster Tools. Websites, this is what Google is like giving higher ranking. They want to see more how-tos, how educational, informative content, engaging content, rather than saying, I'm a real estate agent from Phoenix, Arizona. And this is, if you want to sell or buy, selling yourself as a service. They don't really care. They don't think that's of huge value. So what they want to see is, I'm a Phoenix, Arizona real estate agent, and here's what the marketplace is doing right at the moment. Here's how to get started. Here's my favorite lenders that I can refer you to. Buying houses in this community is informative, educational, what's going on in the community, rather than just a service offering. So they really are have learned a lot from YouTube, because the how-to category under YouTube is the #1 category for views. So they're now applying that to websites, just FYI. So it's important to have those extra pages. So the basic understanding of SEO is quality of traffic, quantity of traffic, and organic results. True. But what it really is, it's not just those. It's a lot of different things. And quite a few of these things happen when a website is designed and launched. But a lot of this is SEO. But notice I have a new lightning flash. We have INP.
Yeah.
Okay.
Really?
I thought someone was asking a question.
Okay, I'll come down.
It's called Interaction to New Paint, INP. So you can see, and again, you're going to get this presentation along with the recording. So hopefully that will help. You can go back and refer to this if you'd like to. Basically, it's the tortoise and the hare. It's all about driving traffic to your website and experience. And so traffic plus experience equals SEO, kind of. The Google algorithm updates with the INP interaction to Nix Paint. Yes, that's how I feel when I'm looking at my computer trying to understand all this as well. So let me simplify it. It's basically following the interaction types. It's clicking, tapping, or pressing a key. Now, what happens when they click the mouse? It's not just what happens, but how long it takes to happen. So it's the interaction, is clicking, tapping, pressing. But the new paint is the new whatever is going to happen when that click, tap, or press happens. And they call it painting the screen. So it's a new paint. It's a new, it could be a new page. It could be a pop-up. It could be a thank you for submitting. If they submitted to respond to or to receive your newsletters or whatever, but it's whatever happens when they click, tap, or press, that's called the new paint, the new layer that comes up, which could be just a new page. It's pretty simple, right? And you'd think, oh, how long could that take? Well, sometimes it can take a very long time, depending on what they're clicking, tapping, or pressing on, and how big of a file it is. So it's also getting more critical on the size of files that we're putting on our website. So INP scores, we have good, needs improvement, poor. That's the Google Search Console when they give you an INP score. That's coming in the future. You're going to get a good, needs improvement, or a poor. And if it takes more than 200 milliseconds to 500 milliseconds, that's a needs improvement, but that's actually can be pretty good. So Michelle, I don't think she's on the call. She might be, but this is a website I recently launched. So if I can restart that one, let me restart that one. So you can see by tapping, you're going to see just clicking a link or clicking a page. That's how quick, that's what they're looking for, is that time, that responsive time, whether it's a button or a page, a menu item, they want to see it happen quickly. All right, so the goal really is to minimize the time frame so that the user or viewer, I prefer to call them, isn't sitting there waiting, wondering what's going to happen. As fast as their brain works, we want to make sure that the interaction happens to the next frame. So back to our tortoise and the hare, and I feel like the tortoise right now, it's not just about the experience, but traffic now has become, I mean, SEO has become traffic plus the INP, which is the new customer experience, along with all those other things. But this is a big portion of the new algorithm, is the INP ranking. That's how I feel. So rich snippets versus meta descriptions. Let's talk a little bit about that because I touched on that earlier. So this is my old example here. You see what a meta title is, and then the description is the paragraph or part of a paragraph. There is so many characters involved. They don't tell you how many characters, but it's about 2 to 3 lines. And then you can see what the slug is. So let's look at the meta description. Oh, this particular style of search result is called a breadcrumb, by the way, if you're looking at structured data. And we've done a lot in structured data for websites to help build SEO. And my understanding right now is Google is saying structured data is kind of out. But we'll see. I don't expect things to change that much with those. And if you didn't know that those 3 little dots next to the URL, you can actually click on that and see where it's sourced from, if you didn't know that. Anyway, so we're going to talk about that meta description. So meta descriptions to rich snippets, this conversion that they're thinking is going to happen. Really, you want to think of it as kind of, what is the teaser? You know, what is going to draw the consumer or the viewer in when they see that rich snippet on their SERP page, their search engine response page. So you want to make sure that you put something in that rich snippet that's going to tease them to click on it, to entice them, because that's what you want, is that view. Now, the meta description still has to be there, but like I said, they're saying it doesn't have to be in a sentence form, but I think it would look really goofy on the search engine response page if it wasn't in a sentence form, and it doesn't matter either way. So I think what I'm trying to convey is that there's a lot of changes going on, but it's also not a time to be a minimalist. In the past, probably 5 to 6 months, I've had quite a few of website or agents, or just other clients in other industries as well, going, I really want a minimalist look. I want it to look very simple, and be pretty basic. I'm just saying that can be a trend. Not sure that that trend is really very good for your SEO. And because you can hide pages from the menu, that can be a good way to merge the look of a minimalist with the robustness of what Google's requiring for a website. And we're talking about robust. By the way, what Google considers to be a large website is 500 web pages or greater. Not very many companies that I've ever worked with had 500 pages or better. So Google replaced RankFlex with an AI tool called RankBrain. And if you give me just a second, I think I just got a question. Oh, all right, I'll answer those questions in a minute. Google or any search engine that has a crawler goes out and gathers the information. This is kind of a little bit of a review of what we already talked about. And it brings all those ones and zeros back to the search engine and it builds an index. Oops, sorry. That index is then fed into the algorithm and it tries to match your data with whatever queries are put onto the search console or into the search of the search engine. Sorry, that distracted me. So that it knows how to respond. And whether or not if your page is indexed and it says, oh, this is a good response, then they're going to put you forward onto the page. So Alphabet Inc. is who owns Google. And that's a direct quote from them from the NASDAQ. They announced their plan to take strict measures against the use of AI generated content that's designed to manipulate its search algorithms and elevate rankings falsely. So that is something to really take into account when we're using AI to generate content on our websites, including blogs. That's content on your website. So be careful with AI generated tools. The website platform that most of you know I use strictly for my business is Wix, and they do provide an AI generating content generator. But it's still good to go through there and clean it up. You can't just take an AI generated content and put it on there and then call it good. They're gonna know. So be careful with doing that. So I just want to bring that to your attention. All right, let me go to the next one. Boy, it's almost 9:40 and we're getting there. So I just wanted, I know that's a lot of stuff and a lot of it sounds technical and ooey gooey, but that's the business. And as business owners, and you're all business owners, it's something that really you have to start digging in and learning. So we talked about the Google business profiles. They're in flux when it comes to the relationship between the real estate and financial industries. I don't know that we've seen the end of what they're going to do or the fact that they're allowing them again, if that's going to go away again. It just seems very in flux because for those of you that have maybe moved recently and had to go in and change an address or change brokerages or made any kind of actual content or profile contact changes, and it changed your website, or I mean your profile back to an unverified website, and now they're requiring you to get a video, in which I've already told you those videos have not yet worked. So again, that's in flux. The Google Search Console indexing has cracks because one update happened and then it was another update happened, and they should have gone like this and they didn't. And so there's there's a period of time when some things just fell in the cracks and we're trying to recover some of that. Google search algorithm is still updating and debugging. And what I'm going to say is that when Google makes this massive of a change to its algorithm, it's going to go through probably several revisions throughout this year and into next year until it's perfected. So in the meantime, let's just talk about what we can do. And a lot of it you're going to hear from me is staying the course. So SEO, period is becoming more critical. And the internet is simply polluted with active websites, not not active websites. And by not active, it's people that own a website, but they never go make a change. They haven't logged in for 2 years. You know, they don't add their reviews. They don't write a blog. Those inactive websites are going to hurt people. You have to maintain your website, period. And the internet, a lot of websites are still up where businesses have simply gone out of business. And those have not gotten cleaned up. And the other thing I'm going to talk about is for the websites is the fact that part of the Google algorithm changes that could come up, they have not yet been implemented, but it is part of the restructuring of the algorithm in the future that they're looking at. I'm not saying that they're doing it yet, but every single real estate company out there that provides websites like Agent Flyer, Playster, Agent Image, Brevity, all of those that provide template type, including my offering of template style affordable websites, could get under fire. And by saying that, I'm saying is that they are maybe looking at if that information is already out there, they're not going to put it out there and they're not going to index it. So we as an industry have a long way to go to preparing for that if that does come about. Because all these big companies out there, I mean, I'm not a big company, I'm just little old me. And those guys out there that make millions off of their platforms with real estate agents, for example, or any industry related specific platform, are going to run into huge problems in 2025. Huge problems, and maybe by the end of 2024. So find out what they're doing to prepare for that. Search engines, they're continuously evolving because the competition, because there's so many websites that pollute, that don't get taken down, and the competition for SEO gets tougher and tougher and tougher. Social media isn't as effective as it once was. There's a lot of emphasis put on meta products. I say if Google is the ruler of the empire, the ruler of the empire, go to Google. Don't go to his the chief operating officer. Go to Google. So as much as you can do in Google is better. A lot of people also misuse hashtags. And if you're putting those into your blog, don't. They're not searchable on your website. They're only searchable in your social media. So don't add them to the bottom of your blog on your website. Add them to your, if you post your blog to your social media, you can add them in there. So it's primarily, they even say that hashtags are more effective on Instagram and TikTok than on any other platform. They're not even used that much on Facebook anymore. You can see a lot of hashtags being entered, but who's searching it? That's the question. So getting reviews, and I've got this all in caps because I'm yelling, because I have been telling my clients forever, get reviews, get reviews, get reviews, and get it on your website or on Google. Don't encourage it on Zillow. Some of you may have 200 or 300 on Zillow. Some of you may have 15. Even 15 or 10 or 5 is plenty on Zillow for someone to read because there's only 5 per page. They're not going to keep clicking next, 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 next until they get to page 450. So don't worry about those on Zillow as much as worry about them on your Google business profile and on your website. Besides that, that is UGC, user generated content. And Google loves to see UGC. So if another user, that's not you, but it's an outside third party, writes content on your website in the form of a review, you get extra points for that because you didn't write it. So it has a heavier weight for Google than just if you changed a paragraph on your website. Expand your digital footprint. Digital footprint. I'm going to give you a list of those. First, let's talk about the search engines. There's a lot of emphasis on Chrome and Google profiles, business profiles, and YouTube and all that. But what we're not remembering is that there are other search engines, Safari and Bing. Bing actually, in this counter, it's the lowest I've ever seen it. It's usually around 30%, but Safari is now around, I believe it was, it shows around 20%, but I think today I saw Safari at 18%. Yahoo and DuckDuckGo. DuckDuckGo, for those of you that have never heard of that, that's kind of a replacement for Firefox. I mean, they're not owned by the same company, but it's the same thing. You can go into DuckDuckGo and without your cookies or caching or that. But a lot of computers come with Bing installed. So even if they have Chrome, they usually have Bing installed. Safari is primarily iOS or mobile devices, but some people do search on their MacBooks or I don't know anyone that uses Safari as an engine on an iOS system or laptop, but on Mac, yes. All right, so what does Google actually look for? This is my traditional stuff, although I've kind of updated it. And what I'm trying to tell you is we have to stay the course until we know concretely that these things don't matter anymore. Because I know a lot of these things matter very much so. Readability and ADA, that's the big one. I should have moved website navigation up underneath that because that's really the second one. So readability and ADA, we've already talked about that. We're talking about the contrast between the color of the font in the background and even the font that's used. A lot of these really trendy handwritten fonts are impossible for people to read. So think about being visually impaired on top of just being 60 years old and not able to read the words as clearly. Also, a lot of people have gotten into really tiny font on their website. I don't recommend anything under a 16 point. And if you really want them to see it, you need at least an 18 point because your website needs to be responsive. It needs to go from a large, say a 50, 60-inch TV down to a mobile device. So online properties such as social media linked, make sure that you have those because that's part of your digital footprint. And I'm just going to throw one thing in here. If your website is PATSY, MECCA Marketing or GTS Marketing Works, that's the name of my website. Then my YouTube channel is going to be called PATSY MECCA GTS Marketing Works. My Google business profile is going to be called PATSY MECCA GTS Marketing Works. Exactly. It needs to see those apples and apples across all of your digital footprint in order to say, that's the same Sally Smith. Oh, there's another Sally Smith with the same phone number and the same name. That's the other Sally Smith. So let's make sure that you use consistently the same emails, the same phone numbers, the same title to the property, and the same address if an address is required on there. Make sure that those are consistent so they know that it's all the same person. And again, they're looking for instructive, original content, how-tos and educational. They look at the number of pages on a website, how robust, how big is it? A small website is under 50 pages. That they consider that very small. So remember the trend about a year and a half to 2 years ago when everybody was going, I don't need more than a landing page. Yeah, that went away. They also look for a number of words per page for indexing, and they want to see a minimum of 300. It doesn't take long to get to a minimum of 300. Website navigation. So specifically, and remember, we just talked about the indexing and that the Google Search Console is only indexing the homepage now. And then they're using the sitemap to inform that index how many pages are on the site for it to go look for. So if we talk about how many pages are on a website and then navigation, that homepage has to be, should have a link to 75% of the other pages. And every single page on your website needs to have a link from another page to it. And so that means that just about every page has links to another page. But navigation of the home page to getting to all your critical pages on your website is very important. So don't try to make those short. They're going to be long. There's ways that we can limit what is seen on a mobile. That's okay. But the laptop version needs to have as many links on it for navigation as possible. External and internal links. My clients, when I teach you how to do a blog, I show you how to do the external links. And we all have internal links because, again, we go back to navigation, those internal links, like view my next blog, click, and it goes to the blog. Or my seller page, click, go to the seller page. Those are all internal links. So you have a lot of those. And we've intentionally put on PDFs onto our website for informational purposes because those, again, are also good. And mobile responsiveness. So the Wix Studio is now, they have this way of making things a little more responsive. It's harder for my clients to manage. It's a very technical process. So I'm not converting the websites to that. Can I get someone to mute? Hello? Thank you. So what can we be doing? We can still be posting on our Google business page and our YouTube every week at a minimum. We can blog. And when you blog, use your SEO content and categorize those blogs. If you don't have categories, make categories. And if you don't understand what I'm talking about, you can watch my YouTube on blogging on how, and it talks about setting up your categories, or you can send me an email. Add Q&As to your Google business page, your Google business profile page. You can add FAQs to your website. You can see the trend here. We're getting into those educational how-to format that Google was wanting to see, right? So we're evolving into those question and answers, the how-tos, answering questions. And then we can make sure that your sitemap is added to the Google Search Console. So even if we've launched and added the Google Search Console, we can go back and add a sitemap and have that crawled. But prior to October, the Google Search Console, or even prior to March or February, it should have indexed all of your pages. So most of them should not even have this issue. And except for those that were released in February or March. Increasing your digital footprint. And I know that sounds really crazy. And I haven't been a huge advocate of this because for me, a lot of times it all gets out of control and people have no idea what pages they've got. But I'm going to go back to my statement that we saw a couple slides back. This is not the time to be a minimalist. Now's the time to really expand your footprint. And again, keep it consistent. Okay, so you have a website, your Google business profile, your YouTube channel. Then we go to the Bing, which is Microsoft Edge. We create the business profile and attach it to the Google profile and sync them. So anytime you update your Google profile, it automatically updates the Bing profile for Microsoft Edge, the search engine for Bing. And when we also add the Google Search Console, by the way, that's not in here, we add the Bing Webmaster Tools and sync those. So that's tracking. In fact, I think it was Scott yesterday, and he's on the call. We were looking at his, and he actually had almost, was it 28%, I think, Scott, of the volume of searches or visits to his site visits from Bing. So having that Bing Webmaster tool has been golden, and that Bing business page. If you don't have that, it's easy to find out if you do or not. Let me know. We can always set up a time. Go into your social media, make sure that your Facebook, your Instagram, your LinkedIn, whether you use TikTok, YouTube is actually considered social media in some realms. It's actually said it is the #1. And now they've kind of broken it out because I don't think Facebook really liked being #2. What can I say? If you don't have a Yelp page, you might consider that. I know down in the San Francisco Bay Area, Walnut Creek, they have a Walnut Creek magazine, online magazine. They allow you to have a free business profile or in their directory. Set that up. Look for those things in your local area. Look for ways, whether it's it could be your Better Business Bureau, or what is your local chapter of business group? I can't think of it. Anyway, look for local opportunities for directories to list your business in that, and then promote it. You can't, it's not good enough just to put it there. You got to do something with it. Even in Yelp, you got to be answering those reviews or whatever you get in Yelp. Yelp, whether some areas are huge on Yelp, some are not. What can I say? It's still good to have one. So that's it. The internet is dynamic, ever changing, and so is the competition. It's not something you can just ignore anymore. You can't put your head in the sand or just say, I can't do this. It's part of owning your business. I want to say thank you. Everyone, please unmute. And who all's here at this point? Oh, we're down to 22 people, but that's good. So
it is fantastic.
well, I hope I didn't get too technical, but I wanted to give you enough information. It's been a crazy 6 months.
Hey, thanks,
Patsy.
Patsy, for the information.
You're welcome. So I know we have just a minute left, and I didn't get through to all of the chats. Oh, Chamber of Commerce, thank you. Very good. So I see your questions in here, and I will send you. I'll probably just do a mass email putting the question out and whatever my response is so that everybody gets the same information. If you need help with site maps or the Bing properties or adding some FAQ pages to your website, I have a special. I can either show you how to do it, but if you want me to do it, then I will have to charge for my time. If you're a client that has a Wix on the Wix platform, it's WordPress is kind of a mess at this point, along with most of the platforms trying to understand SEO. So it's just what it is. I appreciate you all. I am going to cut this down. give me a call or email me if you have any questions other than what's on here. I will respond to those. I hope you got something out of this. Basically, don't lose hope. We've got to ride the storm. It will all get better and it will all work out. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank